So in this segment, we're going to be talking about M&S claiming that the Northern Ireland Protocol remains a huge risk to their business because they still, to this day, have not properly sorted out their supply chains by the looks of it. So high street giant M&S has warned over a gathering storm ahead of the continuing Brexit-related disruption on the island of Ireland, as it's forecast a steep slump in customer demand next year because of global recession. The retailer, which has around 20 stores in Northern Ireland, said while sales were proving resilient and customers are determined to spend over Christmas, surprising, trading will become much tougher in the new year. It cited wider UK-EU relationships and the protocol, which has introduced checks on food products being sent from GB to NI post-Brexit as a risk factor. As it announced its half-year results, M&S said a failure to continue managing the cost, consequences and operational friction from the complexity of the border arrangements between the UK and the EU, or further developments in the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, the Northern Ireland Protocol could have significant and long-term impacts on our Irish business and overall trading performance. It said its business in the Republic generated a strong sales performance in clothing and home, but the food business is being impacted by substantial costs and disruption to the EU border processes. In time, substitutions with Irish sourced product will mitigate some of these costs. Earlier this year, they signed a deal with companies to do sandwiches called Codown, a sandwich maker, all Around Noon. It looks like Around Noon is a company based in Slough, so I'm not sure how much of this actually helps with the protocol issues. And overall, the situation is that M&S should have moved production more, in my opinion, into Ireland, or at least into Northern Ireland, because it makes sense because of the opportunities in Northern Ireland where you can export to GB without any checks. You can export into Ireland without any checks. You could even via GB export into France, depending on the shelf life of the food. From what I remember reading, M&S has stopped selling things like sandwiches in France because those sandwiches are compound goods. So what that means is, say for example, you're selling a ham and cheese sandwich. Ham, animal product, has to be checked. You need vet certificates and all of that kind of stuff. Rules of origins, amongst other things. Cheese, same process. Animal byproducts going to face all sorts of checks. So you're going to have all the paperwork for that. And that's really frustrating to do. And I think even the bread would be checked as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. And so what that means is that when you get to the border, the Dover-Calais crossing, they're going to say, can you show me your papers? And they're going to look through all of these different sandwiches, all of the different kind of products in them, and say, oh, look, this animal byproduct or this animal product, do you have the vet certificates for it? If they don't have it, the thing gets sent back. All your stuff stuck in transit, and chilled goods don't last a long time in transit. They don't last a long time anyways. And so I think that, I'm not sure, I'd have to look at M&S's business specifically, but for example, if you ran a business on selling chilled goods, or if that was a large part of your market, the EU has certain rules around the export of chilled things like chilled meats, etc. They don't accept it. It's got to be fresh or frozen, at least from third countries. So, I don't know specifically at M&S's business model, how much do the sale of the sandwiches and the meal deals, for example, make up their business, but it's a bad idea to try and sell that stuff into the EU or from GB to NI. Why they haven't set up proper supply chains, within Ireland. Ireland's a very powerful agricultural country. There's a lot of farms and other things there, amongst semiconductors, amongst other things. I know people get annoyed at me when I say things like Ireland's an agriculture superpower, because it makes it sound like they're only known for agriculture, and there's lots of things being produced over there and lots of financial services, amongst other services, that are based in Ireland. So hopefully no one murders me for that, or gets mad at me in the comments for that. But point being is that if M&S wanted to, I reckon they could easily move production into Northern Ireland or into Ireland or even into France, given that, M&S has a presence in certain EU member states. There are many options for them, but I just genuinely don't understand what they're thinking. The company added food sales were adversely impacted by the exits from the majority of our operations in France and our chilled offering in the Czech Republic. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's even if your chilled products are allowed within the EU, it all gets checked, and if it's made from animals or animal byproduct or certain plant products, you're in for a rough time. And because it's a compound product, I think people like, I think his name's David Henning and Dr. Anna Jawazaska, talk about this stuff on Twitter endlessly, that selling compound goods into the EU from a third country is just a bad idea. And I don't know why M&S kept persisting with it. They had to suspend certain sales in France because it just couldn't get across the Dover-Calais crossing. because they didn't have the right papers. It was just so onerous. It's such a bad business model. At least that part of it was. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.